For the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Tommy Waynes Jr.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Oakman.
Let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you for this day and for the blessings of being here in this room. We pray for our council members and our mayor as they conduct the business of this group. We pray for the agenda before them. We pray for all those who are here and the business that they have brought forth as well. And we ask God that whatever decisions are made tonight are made with discernment and grace. And this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to welcome everyone here. Make sure your cell phone ringers are off. We will begin with roll call.
Councilman Williams Jr.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Present.
Councilman Robb.
Here.
Councilman Gray.
Here.
Councilman Collins.
Here.
Councilman Warner.
Here.
Councilwoman Barrett.
Present.
Okay, everyone has the minutes from the October 3rd, 2022 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, the first thing we have is a public hearing for approval of pending ordinance 3844, additional appropriation for the ARP Funds. Rosemary?
This is to an additional appropriation to purchase the radios. So all three first responders are on the same kind of radios and can talk to each other.
Nope, so we will open up the public hearing. And does anyone from the public have anything to say? We're utilizing the ARP dollars to purchase our radios for our first responders. Nope, okay, I will close the public hearing and I will ask the council for questions or recommendations.
These are for 800 radios, correct?
Yes, sorry. The Motorola's we presented last, was that 2-3 weeks ago?
Okay.
Yeah, it was the Motorola. We looked at different ones, Kenwoods, everything.
Right.
We felt more comfortable with the Motorola's.
I think I agree with that.
Mayor, were these the same ones that still had that capability for the firefighters within their masks?
Yes.
Okay.
There is one additional thing, which is why the price went up. There's something, I gotta remember what it's called. It's called toning them out. So with the original 800 system, if the system goes down for whatever reason, they're incapable of toning out. With this system here, it's an upgrade. It costs us an extra, I think it was $100,000 off the top of my head. If the radio system goes down, dispatch can still tone fire. It's some sort of extra piece of equipment in there or something. I don't understand all the radio stuff. I just want it to work.
So this is still compatible with the dispatch?
Oh yes, we made sure of that.
Oh, yeah.
When they put the new console in, I sent an email immediately and said, hey, will this work? Whatever, they still want to work together, and they said yes.
Well, I thought you covered that base, but I wanted
Yeah,
to make sure.
yeah, we did. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve pending ordinance 3844 on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion for third and final reading?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. We will get that signed and sent to them tomorrow. Item B, approval of pending ordinance 3845, amend fund numbers. Rosemary?
Earlier this summer, I created an ordinance numbering some fund numbers, and then the State Board of Accounts came out with a memorandum to make these fund numbers certain numbers, so I had to renumber ours. So I was just keeping up with State Board of Accounts.
Any questions? None, entertain a motion to approve pending ordinance 3845 on first reading.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So move.
Have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And a motion for third and final reading.
Motion.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item C, we have approval of pending ordinance 3846, again, parks and recreation fees. Catherine?
This is the same line item that we talked about at the last meeting. We are updating what used to be basketball, volleyball, pickleball to now include yoga and indoor soccer at $25 per 2 hours. So those changes should be highlighted on your ordinance.
Questions from council?
Is this an increase from what it was?
No, it's actually a decrease. It was $20 per hour, now it's $25 for 2.
For 2 hours. So who will be doing the setup?
Our staff.
The staff?
So if they rent, say, Thursday at 9 a.m., it'll be set up before they get there at 9 a.m.
On the deposit part, is that good for one time and then it's mailed back? How does that work?
It depends on the group that, or the individual that rents. If they want to have an ongoing rental, then the clerk's office would hold it until which time they said they wanted their deposit back. If it's just a one-off rental, like most of ours are, then it would be mailed back. They send them every 2 weeks.
So the deposit is good for 2 weeks, let's say they schedule it several times between a 2 week span
We would just hold it.
for that 2 weeks.
No, we could hold it, how long, a year?
If they want to reserve Tuesdays and Thursdays every week until end of March, we'll hold that deposit
Okay,
until,
they just have to declare that at the beginning.
well, they'll tell us when they want the deposit back. They
Right,
can
okay.
continue to rent it. If they want to rent it all summer next year, I'll hold on to it then, until then.
I think what she meant by every 2 weeks is if they're mailed out on a 2 week cycle. They're not mailed out, it's,
Immediately.
right.
What about a master sheet? You know, a master sheet that would be in your office and a list that the pickleball players can come up and sign. And so in the morning when you come in, you can sign that up on your master sheet. You know, because what I'm saying is that the pickleball players might call and someone in your office might say, we booked that day, or we booked at that time. And I'm not saying it's true or not saying it's untrue, but I'm just saying it may not be true because the park is running the gym like a business, you know, a big business, you know, and this is supposed to be activity for young people, elder people to be able to go to the gym, play for a few dollars and stuff like that. And we're always changing things, always adding, well, I guess less money for the basketball and pickleball and things like that, though. But the thing is, we have to do, myself, I was a sports director in Germany, in Dayton, at the Air Force Base. 3,500 kids. So that's 7,000 parents I had to deal with. So I dealt with that. I didn't have any problems with pickleball, tennis, no one. Someone came to me and said, we had a problem. I said, we sit down, we talk about it. Okay, we write it up. Okay, let's do that. Unless there was a conflict of interest for the park. If it's a conflict of interest for the park, then I would say, okay, then we'll we'll change that up, and I'll tell them, that's a conflict, we can't do that, because we got something else going on that day. But if it's not a conflict going on and stuff like that,
If our reservation book is open, we book anyone that calls.
well, I understand that. But,
I don't know what your point now.
well, my point is that if I call there and say, hey, I want to book this for this day and this time,
Yeah.
it might be some bad blood.
For what?
If you asking me for what, then you're not studying what's going on.
No, believe me, I've been studying.
Okay,
Studying
okay then.
All I'm saying, Tommy, is right now, I don't see the conflict. If they call and want to get the thing and use it, there's not a problem with that.
Okay, but someone in that office might say it's booked.
And it's not.
In 2
okay,
weeks,
that
and it's
happens.
not.
Are you accusing
that
me
happens,
of
then-
No,
not
I'm not.
doing
I said someone. I didn't say you.
Has that accusation been made?
No, it hadn't been made.
So,
But
I
I'm
have
just
not- I've
saying.
not heard that.
Well, I'm just saying with all this is going on right
If I
now.
would find out that one of my staff members was intentionally not booking the building, that would be immediate dismissal.
Yeah.
That does not occur in our office.
Well, I'm just saying that, I just wish that wouldn't happen. And then for our elders that have to go over to Lawrence to play pickleball, I don't find that right, for whatever reason, regardless of what's going on. I just don't find that right. And they should be able to stay here, play pickleball, whatever, and after they finish playing pickleball, go to a restaurant, eat a meal. Keep the money in the
They're more
city.
than welcome to reserve the gym to play pickleball.
Yeah,
I think one of the requests in either the park board meeting, or this, probably park board meeting, was a published calendar so that they could see what's open and they could let other people know.
That is
I think
something that
that's
will
what-
potentially happen. We've been discussing software where people can actually reserve the buildings online. So it will show you when the buildings are and are not available. Right now, all we have are paper reservation books and a secretary. Yeah.
all right.
And I would like to make adamantly clear that this is not just for this group. This
It's
is
for
being
everybody.
changed to accommodate everyone that wants to rent the gym. Anyone that wants to come in the wintertime and play basketball or volleyball or indoor soccer or do yoga. So it's a reduced rate for anyone at any time that wants to call and reserve the gym and get it for 2 hours for $12.50 an hour when we're paying $9.50 for
Just
after
that.
4 and weekends. I mean, we're really raking it in there at a whopping $3 an hour profit minus electricity and heat and all those good things. So I really feel that this group has done a great job of pointing out, hey, there's a big interest in a facility in the wintertime. We need somewhere to go in the wintertime. But it's not just the pickleball group. It's everyone whose kids play dirt road basketball. They want to come in the gym and play. Now they can play for a lot less. But we do need an advanced reservation because of the logistics of how our building works. And we do need a deposit. It's just, our gym is set up not as just a gym. It's set up as a rental facility. So if you call and you say, I want to rent the gym this morning, and I say, I'm sorry, it's reserved. Well, there may be a birthday party that night that we're already set up for.
Yeah.
And my custodian leaves at 11 a.m. to go to his second job. That is the way the building is set up. So yeah, you may drive by at 10:30 and be like, there's nobody in there. But that's why, we don't publish our calendar. We don't publish people's names who are renting the gym. We don't have a good way to publish right now when the buildings are rented and not rented. But hopefully when we move to this online system, that would be an easier thing to do.
Yeah.
So
How far in advance do they have to reserve?
we really don't have a set time. You could call today and say, I want to get in the gym tomorrow. And if it was open, if say the pickleball group called and wanted to get in tomorrow, that's a pretty easy setup for Jeremy. So you know, we don't really have it written down, like this far in advance, you have to call.
And how does our fees compare to surrounding area fees?
You know, there really are not adjacent counties that have similar facilities. The places they are playing now, well, the pickleball group is playing, such as the gym in Laurel, is not a municipal facility, it's a school facility. And the Goal A Center, that is a private facility. It's not mandated by ordinances. So Richmond does not have these types of indoor gyms. Rushville does not have this type of indoor gym. Mike Bottomley was just telling me that back when this got started, the rental rate at the Miller Building was $15 an hour. Now it's $30 an hour. So, but those rates have increased over the 20 years that the building's been there. So.
Am I allowed to,
Has
This
any,
is council right now.
has anything changed with the winter wellness at the park? Have there been any changes?
I don't understand your question. This is our winter wellness is something we can continue to look into.
Right.
There are some definite possibilities to partner with Reed and do some more things with that. That was an idea that was presented at a park board meeting.
That everyone agreed to?
There was no vote taken. It was an idea that was presented.
But,
I was not even present at that meeting.
okay. I was just wondering about that.
That's when you, that was the idea that allowed a $10 per hour rental. Well, if you call and reserve the gym from 6 to 8, that means I'm making 50 cents an hour.
It's not good.
No. And that is what I discussed with the park board upon my return was there's a slight flaw in this idea. Because this has to be for everyone. It's not
Right.
just for groups who want to rent while the regular staff is there. It's for people that want to rent after hours. It's for people that want to rent on Saturday or Sunday. And then I have to pay a person to come in at $9.50 an hour. As well as pay the custodian to set up and tear down and clean.
Okay.
So roughly how much does that cost an hour for the community?
Custodian.
For
The
the,
custodian's rate is published, what is it, 10
Something.
something an hour?
No, I
is-
mean for the whole thing. For the Miller Building.
You have a
how much
rate
does it
sheet.
cost per hour to run it, basically?
For a regular event rental, it's $30 per hour for less than 100 people.
No, how much does it cost us?
To run it.
For us personally, it depends on the event.
Now, he wants to know how much it costs to run the building. How much does it cost to run the building for the maintenance and, is that
Well,
what you're
for
asking?
Thank
for
you.
the clerical person, it's $9.50 an hour for however many hours the event runs. And then it is the custodian's hourly rate for however long the setup and cleanup is, depending on if it's outside his normal hours. He gets off his second job at 11 p.m. Sometimes he's in the Miller Building at 1 a.m. setting up another event. And I've never done an analysis on the furnace or the electric and
That's
figuring
what I-
all that
That's what I was
stuff in.
asking,
So
if you had those
But you're
figures.
also paying the clerical 30 minutes before the
Before and
people
after.
arrive. And they have 1 hour setup and 1 hour tear down. So they're paying, so say they're paying for 2 hours at $30 an hour.
Yeah.
But you're paying, so that's the 2 hours.
that's why we did
Plus the two
specify
on
with
the
this,
front and
with
back.
this rate that we would not be doing the before and after, because that would
Right.
just be way in the hole for us, so. Plus, it's not really something where you have chairs and tables.
So a rental can be
Things
2 hours, but you're paying the clerical for 5.
Plus the custodian and plus the person to set up.
Because they have an hour to set up. So if they're having a birthday party, they have 1 hour to set up. That's included in their rental. But the clerical person has to be there early enough to open the doors, turn on the lights, do the paperwork.
Yep.
Plus at least an hour for Jeremy to set up, so.
But set up for a party and set up for football, or I mean soccer or pickleball is all different.
Yes.
This is why there's different rates for different
Yes.
groups. But there's still the setup, the overhead of the facility as well.
I have one more question. Is it true, and I don't know, that when they come in to play basketball and they rent a gym, they actually have to pay for the scoreboard to rent the scoreboard,
We don't,
and also to rent the changing room? I mean, I'm just,
we
yeah.
don't have a changing room.
Well, I guess I don't know. I just was taking some notes and stuff. The things that I was
We don't have a changing room in the Miller building.
in the scoreboard. Is that?
Scoreboard.
Yeah, we do have a scoreboard we use for our events.
No, I'm saying like if a basketball team come in and want to use the gym.
We just rent ours for practice. Now, are you talking about when Community Christian came in to have their actual league? I'm trying
Well, either practice or because either way it go, they're paying. I mean, they're
Well,
paying.
it's two different things. So when Community Christian came in to run their basketball league,
Yeah.
we had to bring in the bleachers, we had to bring in a scorekeeper, we had to run the scoreboard, we had to bring in referees.
Okay.
That was $30 an hour because that is a large event.
Okay.
That is not a basketball practice.
Okay.
When we look at this line item that says basketball practice,
Right.
we're talking about you and your boys coming in to shoot hoops because it's cold outside. And it used to cost you $20 an hour. Now it's going to cost you $25 for 2 hours.
That's all
That
right.
was a whole different, that was like a big deal with, yeah.
Any other questions, comments from council? No? If you would like to come up and speak, you can, but I don't want you speaking from the audience, because we have to get on it. You have to come up and state your name and address where you're from.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, board members. My name is Dave Moeller. I'm a resident of Fayette County, one of the new people here in town.
Address.
Pardon?
Your address.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
Address for
address
public
is
record.
6796 West Coltrane Road, Glenwood,
West Coltrane.
Orange Township. I'm one of the new people in town, in the area. I've only been here for 30 years. Moved up here when I was 46. And my interest here today is in the pickleball and the overall ordinances you're considering. My involvement, obviously I'm not from the city, but I've been a patron of the Roberts Park for the last 8 years in a heavy way. Over the last 8 years, I think I've contributed somewhere in the neighborhood between my wife and I in donations. The $3 per head donation probably accounted to probably $3,000 over the last 8 years because I've got a passion for pickleball. I've played in many states around the country. My wife and I participated this summer in the Senior Olympics down in Florida. My partner in the 75 to 80 and I category last year won Ohio. We won this year in Indiana, and this past year we ended up 9th out of 21 at the Nationals. So I'm kind of committed to pickleball. I'm here tonight to address what I think are some inconsistencies in the way the park resources are now being managed as rental facilities as compared to the will and intent of the park's primary donors. Using the pool as an example, when an individual, couple, or family come to the pool, when it is open to the public, they pay a fee for a daily pass. For someone my age, the daily pass is $3 per day. For that, I get 7 hours of pool use, shared with other members of the community who drop in during regular hours of operation. I may share that space with 4 people, 40, 20, 200. You never know who and how many will show up. But you do know that they come only when the pool is open to the public. The same has been true for indoor pickleball for the past 12 years, under a $3 per person donation, 2 seasons of which have fallen under Miss Good's management. It was open in the morning by the park for pickleball. Now we are told building rental is required. Are daily pool users required to rent the pool? Just the idea is ridiculous. If the pool closes or limits public access to inclement weather, equipment failure, pre-existing reservations like discovery camps, the daily pass is not available. In other words, the daily pass is on a standby basis. There is no guarantee of a particular number of days. Patrons come when the facility is open to the public. The same was true for indoor pickleball for the past 12 years for a $3 per person donation. In the beginning, it was clear it was strictly a donation. We started out at $2, and my understanding at some point we decided that wasn't enough for all the balls and the things that were needed, so it was increased to $3. If someone desires a particular date, time, or number of invited guests, the pool can be rented, and that rental or reservation supersedes the daily pass. The same conditions applied to indoor pickleball for the past 12 years. Way back in February, an astute member of the park board struck upon the reality that the park already had in place a solution to the issue of indoor pickleball. We believe that Vane Lashua's voice heard on the February 28th park board meeting video. He suggested a daily pass for pickleball, just like the pool. We agreed, and to eliminating, that would also eliminate the restricted line item so abhorrent to Ms. Good, that pickleball, we had our own little line item. What a shame, his insight was dismissed. This matter could have been resolved that very night. He knew intuitively that past park administrators knew that the current superintendent won't accept that the Miller Community Center, is, like the pool, is a park facility. That the Miller Community Center, like the pool, is a community facility. That the Miller Center, like the pool, can be rented or used for a fee. And these are not just rental facilities. They are both rental facilities and community facilities. Not one or the other. Pickleball players, like swimmers, are on a standby basis. And admission is not guaranteed every day. We understood that. We, like the swimmers, want to share space with others who want to engage in the same activity when the facility is open to the public. The park board...
What if I wouldn't play basketball when you're playing pickleball? That ain't gonna work.
Well,
Oh, wait.
that's what we're saying. We understand.
What, I mean...
Let me, can I just go ahead and finish?
I'll
I'm
let you
sorry.
finish.
I'm just about done. That park board member knew, as we all know, save one, that an empty Miller Community Center, like an empty pool, benefits no one, and it hurts park revenues. And that any activity generating more revenue than expense is to be maintained, not eliminated. That's what indoor pickleball did. Discontinuing this no-cost activity. And in many ways, for the last 12 years, it's been little or no cost. Because we were willing and did set up for ourselves, tear down for ourselves, and collected money for ourselves and took it to the office. Discontinuing this no-cost activity reduces park revenue and further risks the health of this remarkably unhealthy community as more people become sedentary in the winter. I'm 76 years old. This has been a godsend for me for the last 8 years to have something as energetic and athletic as pickleball has been. You've likely been given a boatload of reasons why the term winter wellness couldn't work. How odd that allowing one person to up the price and lengthen the rental notice window, now it kind of does work. I ask that this statement be put into the public record. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just don't understand how anybody would come in and play yoga or do yoga and basketball when you guys are in the gym. You say you can go in there in the park pool and swim with people swimming. No, they can't do anything else in the park pool. So you can't, that you're comparing an apple with an orange, and you cannot do that.
I just would like to answer your question in one way.
Name and address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry,
For the record.
Judy Mehurin, 714 Idlewood Drive, Connersville, Indiana.
You're gonna have to go a little slower than that.
Judy
I got that.
Mehurin, Mahuron, 714 Idlewood Drive. I just wanted to answer the question about shared space. Although we played pickleball at a time when the park said there was no usage. It was lying vacant. And if we liked, we could come in for free. This started not 20 years, but in 2010. Not 20 years ago, but 2010, 12 years ago. We were invited by the park, who wanted to steward an empty building better, to come in for free, just to put a gift to the community for use in the community. We had walkers in there sharing space with us, walking the perimeter. So they might not have been able to bring down basketball hoops unless they were also playing at a different time when they wanted to come in. But we were invited in from 8 to 11 because cleaning staff needed, to clean up, and people needed to go to lunch, so we would exit. Typically, walkers came 8 to 9 and kind of finished up when we started 9 to 11. So we did share space with a different activity, and it was at the park's invitation. Because we realized we're going to need to buy and replace nets and paddles and pickleballs, and Area 9 had donated monies to build the first two pickleball courts outside. Those surfaces were going to be needed to be maintained, and additional equipment and things would be needed for out there. And how was that going to happen if, as park superintendents say now, and then the park operated on a tight budget? In fact, the word shoestring has been used, that money is tight. So we were willing to donate on our own, not requested by the park, but we voluntarily gave money, $2 a person. It was put in an envelope. It was slid under the door as the park directed us to do, until Brenda Lee, our pickleball ambassador, and around, I want to say 2016, we moved here in 2014. I believe it was around 2016, 18, somewhere in there, Brenda suggested raising that amount to $3 to increase our fund. We were growing. We have grown 28 times over since 2010. So that means more wear and tear, more equipment, more tournaments, more fun tournaments, more shelter rentals. Expenses were up, but we wanted to cover all that and not incur any expense on the part of the park or the city. And we have done that. Some of the things that were mentioned earlier as coming from, the restricted fund, just want to clarify that restricted fund was 100% pickleball donations.
But did it pay for any electricity or the custodian?
Well,
to pick
since
up?
we don't have an answer to the question of what it costs to run, we know we have those low in the gym, we were told anyway. They changed the light bulbs to be much more energy efficient. But if your own park personnel don't know how much it costs an hour to have that building, all I know is the costs were already in place because the building was open to the public. We limited ourselves to a 9 a.m. to an 11 a.m. time slot when the building was already open, heated, lit, and staffed. So that's why some of the people here are saying it was a zero or no cost item, because
Couldn't you do that now? I guess I'm trying to figure out
Yes.
what the problem is. Couldn't you do that now? Couldn't you
Yes.
just say, we're going to reserve Monday through Friday, 9 to 11? There might be 2 days that week that you're told from the park board that, hey, we've got something else going on, you can't have that. The next week it might be 4, which is what you said. Occasionally you're not able to do it.
correct.
So I guess what's the problem with this then?
I was just answering your question about what do you do when basketball wants to come in and play?
Sure.
They find a time to come in and play.
But if you guys got organized right now and said, hey, we like to go in every day from 9 to 11, we like to go in every day. If you just went ahead and said, hey, Catherine, we're going to schedule from 9 to 11 every single day.
We would put them in the reservation book, hold their deposit, and go from there.
So
It
what-
would be
I
as
guess-
simple as that.
So what,
I'm
that's what I don't
what's
understand
the
either,
problem?
is, because I've been going through this with you for the last 3 months as far as this, and it's all come down to the $2.50 or $3 that you're paying an hour. Is that correct?
Well,
You gotta come up here at the podium, state your name and address.
well, I'll be back. I hope.
No, you go
Because
finish.
Go ahead and
you have
finish.
another-
Go ahead and
Should I finish? Well, I was trying to answer Rosemary's question. I hope I did without getting into too many extraneous items, because there's a lot. I know Mr. Williams had a question about what happens if you have somebody who's had a bad day, or a person who maybe doesn't work in the park office in the way that we all would want. I can tell you that I don't want to embarrass anybody. Really worked hard not to do that and to go high no matter what. But it has happened. I'm not accusing anyone here present, and I don't like to accuse anyone. But I understand that this was a short-term employee, and that a person here present was witnessed. There were 2 people that went in and tried to rent the facility. They were to rent the gym. This is when the rentals first came up, and it was sort of a shock to everyone because we'd worked so closely together, and this was presented to the park board without any knowledge on our part, or discussion, or input, or even forewarning. So we felt a little blindsided. But, you know, we watched local TV3, and somebody saw on the February 28th park board meeting that there was going to be a new policy requiring hourly rent, so that the word got out. And one of our generous pickleball players and the witness that went along said, well, we love it so much, we're going to spring for the whole shebang. The whole $20 an hour. They were going to put up $40 for a couple times a week and pay $80 or $120 it would have been to get the group in there, and probably put out their own donation cup, and people would have contributed to pay it back. The problem was exactly what you said, Mr. Williams. The person was denied. The person asked to see. Well, I think the person asked for another date, was denied, asked to see the books so they could choose a date that looked open, was denied. So I cannot tell you what would motivate someone to do that. I can't imagine it, but I know that it happened. And maybe it was just a one-time thing, but I know it was very hurtful to the individuals that it happened to. And we need to avoid that sort of thing in the future.
We do not open our reservation book to show anyone because people's names and phone numbers are in it.
Good,
That is
because,
why.
but I can tell you in a previous question, I've forgotten who asked it now. What about having some system that makes public and transparent the rental system? And we had that. with a secretary prior to the one under which this terrible incident happened. Her name, I remember, was Carrie Lewis. And Carrie Lewis was exactly the kind of park employee you want. She was welcoming, she was sharing, transparent. She created and shared with pickleball players that then copied it and distributed to the rest of the group a calendar, a monthly calendar that showed when the facility was reserved for whatever reason. It showed which dates were available, and everyone knew then that they could come in on those dates and plan their personal calendars accordingly, and that's exactly what happened. If occasionally it did happen that, in the meantime, a private rental came along. Could have been a birthday party, could have been anything. But occasionally it came along. That was never a problem. We always knew, and we never wanted to play as long as we wanted, anytime we wanted. We had a certain morning time in there when usage was low, so we could maximize our play time. But when it occasionally did happen that a rental came along, we knew the park made more money from a private rental than our $20, $30 that we slid under the door every day. The word got out, somebody would call and say, hey, the gym's not available today, and we didn't come. Nobody ever in 12 years made a scene and said, the thought's unimaginable. I want to play today, I'm not leaving, let's have a sit-in. There was nothing like that. We just didn't play that day. But there was, very early on, Mr. Williams, a problem with trying to rent the gym
Pickleball's
privately.
been provided a monthly calendar every month until the ordinance was changed. I'm extremely offended at her accusation of my employee.
Well, I'm not going to, the person here that wants to say that it happened to him or her can do that. I'm not going to throw that under the bus. That's up to that person to say what their experience was. And I'm sorry that you're offended. Imagine the two patrons that pay taxes for that building and for, members of the community that were willing to pay $20, they're willing to pay the rent. The ordinance didn't even go into effect. It wasn't signed off until July 5th, but we're talking April 1 after it was put into effect, prior to establishment. Willing to go in there and pay that hourly rent and being told, no, it's not available. No, that date's not available. That date is not available to you. And no, we're not going to share a calendar or a book or in any other way indicate by creating a calendar because of the new ordinance. I can only tell you what happened, and Mr. Williams, that's why we would see that could be a problem in the future because past history.
But
Judy-
it's just like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just what Jeff said, though. We've been talking 45 minutes on this, as far as this part goes. It's all important stuff, okay? But, if you go in and you reserve the court 9 to 11 for, what is it?
You would ask that question already, and I was prepared to answer your question.
Okay, but what I'm saying, is there a hang-up, though, as far as going in and reserving the court for 9 to 11, 5 days a week and putting the deposit down, and if something comes up, like you keep saying, if something comes up, you're willing not to, to give the courts up?
Not
for
if
that,
rent is
whatever.
required. Now, we've made the
Okay,
reservation,
okay.
and then we are the one that bumps
Okay, we'll leave it at that,
others.
though. Okay, and then just have a fee that you pay $3 a head for everybody that plays?
When we paid,
That's what I'm asking you, as far as just, you want it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
fee-based would be much simpler, like Discovery
That's what I'm
Camps,
saying, as far
fee-based
as
would be much simpler.
$3 a head and play. Now,
But
if
that
you
was
pay-
rejected.
Well, but I'm just saying, I'm bringing it up again, as far as
Okay.
$3 a head, okay? Under her thing, you're gonna pay less if you have 10 people playing.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. You will no longer be able to maintain the outside courts. We are willing to do that for you. It's expensive. The
Well,
lights
I-
are expensive.
and I
We understand that if we don't do it, they'll go the way of the tennis courts. So we understand we have to be proactive.
But
I
feel like I can answer
your
question, Yeah. but
is it okay if I
come to Sure. the
podium?
You can answer
When,
some of their
I
questions.
was going to answer, I believe it was your question, Mr. Werner, about comparisons.
Yes.
Comparative rates. I can answer that very briefly. Thank you, Catherine. one of the points of contention has been that the park must be fair to all by charging everyone the same thing. And however, that is false. The ordinance does not do that. There are many distinctions in recommendations that were made for Ordinance 6852 based on age, rental needs, number of children registered, number of expected guests, and so forth. Those differences were approved and established by City Council as appropriate and fair. For the pool, for example, $3 for a daily pass, $55 for a seasonal pass. We would go with that. In contrast, Shelbyville McNeely's Center indoor fee charges 3 hours of play per day. The charge is $0, Monday through Friday. Greensburg, the indoor fee for 2 hours every Monday and Thursday evening, and 3 hours every Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday morning is $0. In McMillan Municipal Park, the indoor fee for 3 hours per day, Monday through Friday, is $1, plus an ID to verify that you are a resident. In Richmond, the annual pass for indoor pickleball is 3 hours per day, Monday through Friday, and the charge for a senior pass is $20 per year. Those are comparisons. I offered to share those at a meeting that was canceled by Ms. Good. The quote was, "I've heard enough about pickleball," and haven't we all? This could have been settled in March if there had been real consideration of different.
So the concern then is, and I'm trying to get these guys to be able to understand this, because I'm not quite following. The concern then is, are we talking accessibility or are we talking financial cost?
We're talking both.
Okay.
We would like access to our own community center in the town in which we live. We would like the access to be regular and transparent. We would like the costs to be affordable, and we never know how many are going to show up in an open place situation to organize. Well, this
No, I
time
understand
you
that.
pay,
I understand.
but someone might say, well, I've only played once in the last 2 weeks. This person over here has played every day for the 2 hours. It's very difficult to determine from our end, since we don't have membership fees or league designations or anything like that, how to equally distribute that. That's why we think a pass situation, and we recommended it, would work much
The
better.
one thing they have to be careful with, and what I
Yes.
advise them, is that they can't treat different groups differently. Why should pickleball be different than basketball or volleyball? Why should they be unique?
Yes, Mr. Westling?
You gotcha.
Mr. Westling.
Westling, you got it.
One reason is pickleball's time slot is 9 to 11 a.m.
So it's
when
during the day.
Building is already open, staffed, lit,
I get
heated.
that. This isn't, you're not asking for evening accessibility.
No
You're not asking
holidays,
for
no
weekend
weekends,
holidays.
no evening. To be fair, there is a difference in what we are asking and what volleyball typically asks for after hours or basketball. I'll yield.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to come up and just. Over Papa.
My name is Catherine Schlichty.
I bet you're gonna have to spell that one.
No, she knows. You've lived in this county a long time.
Well done.
Okay. And it's
address,
4012 North Winding Creek Road. So for the record, I just want to address your question as well as yours, Mr. Rob. Pickleball, by its nature, since its inception in 1965, has been a drop-in sport. Anybody in the community is invited. Would love to see all of you there, actually. And we have people in our group who are designated as, we will teach you how to play. And if you don't have the equipment, we will provide that for you. What becomes problematic is we don't know how many people are going to show up.
Right.
And so when you have that $25 fee for 2 hours, and we can say, well, that's $12.50 an hour, but if only 4 people show up, they're shouldering at more than $6 a person. Okay, if you have 3 people to show up, you're going to have you're going to be exhausted by the end of an hour if you're trying to play 2 on 3. the oldest person here is the only one who does that. Well, and maybe aside from Jeff, they play singles. But that's where it becomes expensive. And for me, playing every day of the week, I mean, I'm going to pay anywhere from $15 to upwards of $20 a week. Multiply
Don't take up golf.
Oh, I play that too, so, yeah. Yeah, but when you pay that fee,
Right. I mean, I guess
it's for the year.
I'm looking at it just, and you're going to play with at least 4, right? Very rarely are you playing this. Isn't
We play with whoever shows up, and you like to have 4 on the court.
Right. So you're saying, let's say almost all the time, pretty much we're going to have 4 people at least, right?
We hope.
So you're talking 4 people's, $6 a person. That's $3 an hour per person.
Mm-hmm.
Tell these guys why that's not reasonable. Because it seems from the outset.
From the outside, but okay, and multiply that one day,
right?
$6 times 5, that's $30 in a week. That's $120 a month that I'm paying. And I feel like that is excessive. And on the other side though too, is if 8 people show up, then you're to the good. There were times that we had 20 people show up at the park to play indoors on 2 courts, which is kind of a hassle because that means you're sitting, and my purpose is getting up and getting moving. I don't want to sit, but we all have to share and take turns, and I'm, as a school teacher, I'm good with that. But there were nights that we would bring in $60, $65. Then you have those balance days when you only have 4 people there and you're under that 25.
So you'd rather pay per person. That's kind of sounds like your biggest dispute. You're not really worried about, hey, if we can get 9 to 11 every day, and maybe there's 20 times during the winter we don't get the 9 to 11. We're completely good with our accessibility, right? So accessibility, I think we can resolve that pretty easily. It sounds like, right? So now our next concern is instead of paying like everybody else does, you think this is a little bit different of a situation. Yes. And quite honestly, if we're being honest, the 9 to 11 crowd is probably more people on a fixed income because you're retired.
Thank you. I am now on a fixed income, so it's more apparent to me.
You're retired typically if you can play from 9 to 11. So to be able, so your request would be instead of the $25 per day that the group has to somehow come up with, that it would be per person.
Yes.
That is essentially to me. If I'm picking up everything, I want to make this simple.
You are smarter than the average bear.
That's what these folks need to look into.
Yes.
Catherine has suggested, hey, $25 for a 2-hour period because I know what I'm getting. I know that my expenses are covered.
Yes.
Their thoughts are, hey, maybe some days we'll make more, some days we'll make less. Yes. They get to make that decision. Mm-hmm. But I want to get rid of the accessibility. We think we're okay,
yes.
Or we have concerns. Because I know she expressed some.
It always has been.
There was some concerns you expressed on 1 or 2 occasions. That's going to happen no matter what you do, right? I play pickleball, and even outside, it's free. But sometimes you go and there's 25 people playing, you can't play, right?
Yeah.
So I get that. But what we're talking about today, it sounds like, is accessibility is good. We just need to figure out: are we comfortable doing different than any other sport because this is unique, or do we need to make it exactly like everything else, right?
They have been to the park board 3 times.
Okay.
3 times the park board has said, no.
Okay.
We do not feel that this is an exception to the rule.
Okay.
We have tried different programs. To me, it's no different than a basketball team that wants to come in. They may have 2 guys that want to come in and play for $25. Well, it's the fees are something that the group has to work out by themselves. All I'm asking for tonight, we have come to the least rental rate that we can come down to. That's just where the park board is. I'm here with the unanimous support of the park board to just get this changed. If something can be worked out in their group to figure out how to make the money work, then that's within their group. But the Miller Center, the rates are for everyone, not just for this group.
So
I did also want to.
One thing I was going to say, because I was in on the original group, I see a few faces out there that were in the original 8 or 10 people that played here when we started. And when we started, everything that you've said here as far as going into the gym during the winter months and stuff, we got to do that stuff and there was no problems or anything. We made a collection and we went in and I don't know how, I never paid attention to how it worked as far as where the money went or how it was done as far as that part of it goes, but something was submitted and whatever. The people that in the office there might have been a little more, didn't say a little more, but worked differently with what it was. Here's the crux of the matter, as it is with everything since I've been doing this city council job, is we've pushed we've not paid for things, and we got spoiled on a lot of things. Now, I'm not saying so much this because the pickleball people have picked up the tabs on a lot of things and done some stuff, but overall, in the community to a certain extent, we push the thing down the road all the time. So when we're trying to fix things and come up with some rental charges and things like that, we're trying to cover a lot of bases that haven't been covered and stuff's been kept shoving down. Well, we kind of shoved it down to the point where you can't shove it anymore.
That's why we want to.
Well, and you guys were happy.
And I'm not just saying this from the pickleball, but this is true of so many things that we've tried to tackle over the last couple of years and stuff. And being not a politician or anything, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a business guy when it comes to when we come in and stuff, that I've had to learn about the other side of the coin and stuff, as far as how it works and things like that. But we are trying to move the community forward. And the pickleball is a big deal as far as doing that, as far as that part of it goes. And I mean, look just how many people are here from the original 8 that I played with and stuff. You've got, sometimes you have 50 or 60 people in the tournaments that you have during the summer. Now granted, that's all outdoor. This is what you're just talking for, exercise during the winter months.
You guys all say you agreed and loved winter wellness. So we're basically arguing over $2.50 an hour.
I think that's what you're arguing about. As far as
But also understand too, we have husbands and wives, so they're not paying. They're paying double the amount.
No, reservation. The
The winter
reservation.
wellness required a reservation.
Yeah, that's why if we can go a better way.
$2.50 an hour.
Per day.
In the
So it's not
interest,
I want
That's
to keep
exactly
the I want
what
to keep the
winter
argument
wellness
very
is.
tight though.
okay.
Yeah.
We're beyond, to me, we are beyond the time that you're talking about. We're going to say,
The time element's
we're going to
solved.
send her 9 to 11, we're going to send that request, she's going to tell you what days you don't get, because you're ahead of birthday parties and everything because you're doing it in advance. I presume that's right, correct?
Yeah.
So
That's what
we no
we
longer
wanted
need to
before.
discuss the time thing,
Okay,
right? We got
great,
that. Let's
great.
talk, we're talking dollars,
We're
right?
talking
Can I-
$2.50 an hour.
Can I ask a question? There's 20 of you here tonight. How much are each of you willing to pay per year to play pickleball?
Per year?
What's your total dollar? How much?
Or just during the winter
Do you
months?
want us
During the
to?
winter
person
months.
could be sick and you may say, I'm okay with $100 a year or whatever. But if
Okay.
I get sick and in the hospital and have heart problems, I'm not
How
gonna
much
pay
have you
$100.
paid
I,
by the drop-in?
That's what
So
this
if
group
you
is like
so
that.
so if you are going to do a pass, how much would you be willing to pay
$3
and this
for
is
a day.
seasonal pool
a
pass. $3 a daily,
$3 a day.
55 a season.
Okay, so
It's in writing.
55 times 20.
Treat it the same.
You've already got that as an ordinance, right?
No, that's
It's
just for
just
pool.
pass.
Okay,
So
so
1,100.
Yeah.
20, Jenny. More than 20.
Right, you have more than 20 people. What I'm saying is, as an organization, charge each individual person a fee, and that's your pass, and that goes into your own account, and then you pay the rental fees out of your own account, which is similar, Judy, to what you were saying about, because what you were talking about is that you reserve for the, even if it was the wellness, $10 per hour. You were going to show up, collect $3 from each person, but you were going to pay for the reservation out of your funds.
Yeah, that was
you
not our
collected.
choice. That was where we're trying to reach a compromise. We had it September 26th. It was not ideal. We were more along your lines, and we are happy to go back there because it's more workable. And
One concern I have about the I like her idea, but the one concern I have about your guys in a pass, you're going to get frustrated then when she says, well, I can make more money having another birthday party or having this or having basketball. That I could see that getting frustrating
And
over a certain
again,
period of time.
What other group is entitled to a pass? None.
the pool pass.
Me,
The
if I
daily-
want to go to the swimming pool.
But
The
that's
pool
different.
is
That's
set
a
up
different
to
That's a different
operate
animal, though.
daily.
That's a different entity.
The
That's
Miller
apples and
Center is
oranges.
set up for reservations.
Yeah.
It's just a different facility.
All we can say is it's worked fine for 12 years. There was no State Board of Accounts investigation or audit or rejection. It's worked fine for 12 years. Nobody broke a leg setting up a net, as has been indicated. Why? It's all I can say is past history says that if there is a will, there is a way to make this work again. But there has to be a will.
And her statement about the board rejecting our offers and rejecting us is a little bit misleading, because we were lied to about the situation, and we believed that.
If you're going to talk, you need to come to the pulpit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Name and
and
address.
I'm going to offer just a little piece of advice. I think we're
Let's
at
not
a
go
point where
backwards.
we're negotiating. Let's not get with past history, Nate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, let's not.
It's a
We
trust
can't.
issue.
These folks can't control that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can. They can moving forward. Let's operate from a place of dignity moving forward. Right?
So I'm going to suggest, this is my suggestion. Because I like numbers and I've crunched them really fast here. This $25 for your 2 hours, 5 days a week, $125 per week, $500 per month, 5 months, $2,500. If you have 25 people, that's $100. For 5 months of play. If you pay $3, Catherine, what'd you say? If you played every day, how much is that going to cost you? And Bob?
$15 a week.
And what about the people from other counties that want to come in and play?
Drop in.
Well, then that's where
Rob-
your organization
Rob
could
worked
charge.
that out.
Your organization could charge them per play.
Daily pass pay.
And you might, and then by the time you get some canceled, the organization could actually make some money and have some money to buy equipment and to do fun things.
Part of the problem with that is since April 1, we've lost half of our group. They've gone to Laurel to play because we were priced out of Miller. So when we try to restart pickleball play in Miller this winter, there needs to be some appreciation for the number that now play at Golay, that now play in Richmond, the bulk of which play in Laurel.
If they're going to drive out of town with gas prices to not pay $100 all
Many are
winter.
closer to Laurel that live in this county. They're closer to Laurel, and that's where they're going now. So I'm just trying to explain why the numbers might not be what you think.
Yes, but $100 for 5 months of play is costing you $20
Per month.
per month. It's costing each person, that's 25 people paying $100 to cover this cost for 5 months. That's only costing you $20 per month.
Unless you're a
That's less than
snowbird.
$1.
And when you're a snowbird, you're paying when
Sure.
you're not even gonna be here.
Sure.
Yes, exactly.
Sure.
But those are
So
choices.
Those are
therefore, you don't
choices.
play.
Those are
Those
choices.
choices. That's gonna come up no matter
Wait a minute.
what.
Those are choices.
I got a gentleman here at the podium.
My name is Michael Loudon, Lowden, P.O. Box 662, College Corner, Ohio.
P.O. Box 62, College Corner.
662.
662, sorry.
And I want to address specifically why we have issues. There are more than 5 million pickleball players in this nation. And the core culture concept is an open play concept, which means the facility establishes a open play time, and then as people, we show up. Some people will show up 3 days a week, some people will show up 1 day a week, but people show up because they know they're invited and there will be play. It is not a set amount. When you have a basketball team rent the gym, they know how many people are coming because those people have already committed.
Well, in fairness, though, those people have already. I've done a lot of open gyms in my life, and in fairness, those people are communicating with each other. So if you guys were doing the same thing, all of a sudden it's 8 people showing up, you guys communicate, then you're paying that. I mean, so in fairness, you do need to communicate with amongst each other.
Oh, we do.
Right. That's what I'm saying, though.
But not everybody can show up all the time. You're injured, you're old.
What I am saying is that we are not asking for anything that is not across the entire nation. I submitted a list of over 50 parks that have indoor open play. And these, when I asked on one pickleball group I belong to, I asked for public parks only and that they're indoor facilities. And I had more than 50 parks that either have open play with very low fees, somewhere between $2 and $5, or they had no fees. All they did was establish this time of day will be a set schedule. I do believe that Laurel is not part of the schools. It is a community center. It is part of the community
It is a
there.
community center.
Nobody brought that up. What's the
Catherine
cost?
did.
No,
Catherine-
I'm saying nobody brought up the cost there. What's the cost to play at Laurel? Is it free?
It's
Is it-
$15 per session is what the community center charges.
Okay, so how long is a session?
It's
2
hours.
It's 2 hours.
Okay, they're people are going there because it's $10 a session cheaper.
Yes,
And we've been made to feel welcome there.
yes.
Okay, I think
It's not limited to 2 hours. It's
And-
And 3 courts.
And
okay.
the Richmond Parks Department runs the senior center, which they have a $20 annual fee is all you pay for the senior center, and they schedule indoor pickleball there. You know, and it doesn't matter how many people are showing up, everyone is welcome. Every person that you see here began playing pickleball because some park somewhere said, you are welcome to come here. You do not have to schedule in advance. You will be welcome to show up here as a beginner and we will teach you. You know, it's more than just money. It's more than, you know, all of the fighting that's going on. This is a cultural thing for us. This is what we are actually fighting for, is that our culture of open play be respected. You know, as it has been right now, we are told you have to sign up in advance, and you know, you may or may not get what you're asking for.
You would agree, though, we've remedied that here tonight.
I would say that there have been some progress on it until things are in place and it can be seen if it's operating. I'm not sure that there's a remedy.
If you put it in writing, I mean, part of the problem here was we had a system that worked for 12 years that was not put in writing, and therefore it was thrown out, and we threw the baby out with the bathwater. If you can put
Can I
it in
say
writing.
something?
You can, but the problem is, you can. Under this policy that she's presented, you can. You can just say, hey, we want 9 to 11 every single day through the winter.
Jim, what's our
Through this early
recourse if
spring.
that doesn't happen?
Huh?
And what is our recourse
I
if
would
that doesn't
certainly,
happen?
I would certainly come back here and demonstrate that, hey, we only got 10 of them.
Jeff, can I say
Board or
something
where?
here? I would like to say something.
Of course.
We have a park board. I'm not even sure that this is an issue that we can even vote on.
We can control
On the
fees.
fees.
Fees, yes,
Yeah, the
but
money
not
part
the
of it.
rest of it.
No, we cannot.
And we're talking about all the accessibility, but that's the part of the park board.
But
So we really
The
can't,
administration's park board.
yeah, it is the administration's park board, but it's not like, I mean, I'm just saying that I know we can vote on the fees.
We control the fees, not the administration.
We don't control the administration of the park board, so if we vote, say we vote something, I mean, we are actually overriding a board that is in place that's their authority and not ours.
I thank you for your time. Does anybody have any questions specifically for me?
Do they play pickleball over at college?
Pardon?
Where you're from? Do they have?
They play it in Oxford, but in all honesty, I'm willing to drive 25 miles plus to play with this group because this group is committed to pickleball. The Oxford group lacks passion. And by the way, when we're discussing wellness, since I began playing pickleball in 2019, I have lost over 100 pounds.
Wow.
That's right.
This, you know, this is more
We're not debating.
than just getting out there and beating a ball around for me. This is something that I consider has saved my life. And it all began because one group had posted times that said, come play with us. We will make you feel welcome. And when I joined this group, they made me feel like family. You know, and up until just, you know, earlier this year, the park itself made me feel like family. Unfortunately, that has changed, and also unfortunately, the reputation of the park is being damaged to other facilities and other communities of pickleball because they're not feeling as welcomed. Any questions for me?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
My name is Steve.
Sorry.
It's all right. Mahuron, Mahuron.
Idaho Drive.
Idlewood Drive. But don't follow GPS because we face Village Creek.
I can walk to your house, so I know where you're at.
To your question, yes, we've been to the park board, as she said, 3 times already.
I realize that.
So we've tried to go the right channels.
But we don't,
I know, but I'm just saying,
yeah, and I'm not trying to.
we're at a frustration level. And I don't know if you guys watch yourselves on TV. It's quite interesting to watch the dialogue. If I could only be talked to as nice as you are when people make presentations, it makes a big difference how people approach you. If they come with an attack mode, it's like, wow, what happened? I thought we were getting along fine. But I'm just saying, you should watch the meeting. The park board, we went there. They had this winter wellness program. It's like, wow, they really are listening. I mean, it was like just for the winter. We had told them about how, we ranked 92nd out of 92nd in wellness, so it's like, yeah. And it was a dialogue just like this. And they said, well, we got to work out a few details. Come back on the 18th, tomorrow, because we won't be the last of the month because, they're canceling that meeting. Okay, fine. And then we watched the 3rd of October. Now, once there's this proposal coming before you, it has nothing to do with winter wellness. Well, what's that make us feel like? Were we lied to? I don't think so. The people there seemed really sincere, and it was really kind of nice. It's like, okay, this is a compromise. We can work with that. We can do the winter wellness. We can do that. And the rate was probably not really that big of a deal. It's more like we don't trust that we can get a time slot. So anyway, I just wanted to share with this just to give you an idea. I'm sorry, I only made 8 copies, I think. This is just an appropriation page out of the city that one of our members got for us. I should have brought the rest of it. But you can see on the right side down there, there's a couple payments out that came out of the designated pickle fund. One was $3,700 for paving. There was another maybe $300 or $400 for surfacing, painting. That came out of the line item that they were keeping for pickleball. That's what it was there for, to help maintain that. All right? What I didn't bring was the revenue sheet that showed each month what was going into that line item. $400, $500 during the winter months. And, in 2020, the balance in that fund was $10,000. All right? So, once it was adopted that the line item is going to have to be removed by the park board, well, we got to spend that down. So, we spent for paving, we spent for surfacing. They bought a pickleball machine, which for beginners, it shoots the ball out there to them, and they can practice it so much. Well, we use it outside, but it's probably not going to work outside right now because it's too cold. And so those are just things that I'm sure you're aware of, everybody has different personalities, but I deserve to be treated with respect. You deserve to be treated with respect. We're not calling you names because that's not appropriate. And we're willing to stand up here in front of you and not talk behind your back. But it's just like, are you listening? Are you listening? I have one thing else to say. I'm sorry if this sounds like preaching, but in Proverbs 3:27 it says, whenever you possibly can, do good to those who need it. Never tell your neighbor to wait until tomorrow if you can help them now. I think you guys can help us now. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Comments from council. I'm sorry, Shirley. Come on up. I apologize. I didn't see you stand up and know if you were going to talk.
Well, I think,
Name
depending,
and address.
Shirley Weiss,
I think you're related to her.
I know. Line.
3844 West County Road, 150 North, Connersville. I was waiting until after there was a decision or a vote, because I was thinking that's what you guys were going to vote on. And I'm very interested to hear what Diana said about what you're authorized to do and what the park board is authorized to do, and what a staff member or superintendent of the park, who does that superintendent report to? The park board, and the park board reports to who? Does the park board report to the council? That's it. Pardon?
The mayor appoints the park board.
The mayor appoints. So does that make the park board reports to the mayor? And
No, they're a board who runs
They're an
the park
independent, they're an
administration of
independent
the
board.
park.
We
We control the purse strings.
control the budget.
so I think in business world, he who controls the budget and he who appoints are generally the ones you report to. So everybody has to report to somebody, and ultimately, I hope it's the taxpayers. But let me start with my prepared notes. I was here to thank the council for finally, since February, coming up with an affordable amendment language for the group. And it would continue our low cost or reasonable cost instead of an outpriced indoor walking and pickleball. And right at that point in time, I'm still back in the winter wellness proposal, which, like Steve said, everybody got very excited because finally somebody is wanting to do something about wellness in this community. Again, here we are back to 92nd in the state. And so then I have to add, because it's not in my notes, we're also probably still 92nd out of 92nd poorest county in the state. Can anybody argue or dispute that? And that's why the $25 seems like a huge thing. And I was talking to Jabin earlier, and I said, here we're talking about paying $3 a person, and that's gone on for the last 8 years. It was $2. And now we're talking about it being $25. I know that many times, like Catherine says, there's more than 20 people there paying $3, so you pay $60. So it's more than what you're asking for, and I do again. Without there being huge records to keep, when you add it all up and divide it by the number of days in a week, you're going to come out ahead. So the park has always welcomed no and low-cost physical activities like walking. Why haven't we been talking about walking? The proposal that we went to with the park board had issues. And like, for instance, a walker, would have that walker had to pay a $50 deposit to get to walk inside when the weather was bad? Most walkers will walk outside if it's not terribly cold. But if they wanted to go walk inside, did they have to reserve 48 hours in advance before they could come in and walk after paying a $50 deposit? now it's just back to the pickleball people. But like I said, we were excited because it was yoga, jazzercise, whatever. And we're happy to share our place. And there's lots of hours where that facility sits idle. We are the poorest and we rank dead last in the wellness. It calls for an urgent response, and here we are 8 months later, and we're still trying to figure out where we're going to play indoor pickleball because it's too cold to play outside. We'd ask the council direct the park superintendent to at least mobilize, the park's resources and public buildings to address the issue. John Roberts should be doing jazzercise again. And I know we don't have an indoor pool anywhere in this community. And again, that's because people gave up $1 million that was donated for fitness and wellness. And we returned it because they couldn't agree on how to best use it. That wasn't in this prepared. Instead, the administrator of a city park or public building will require daily building rental for access as you look on. You're looking on this. Park administration has hindered, not helped, the cause of better health and fitness in this economically challenged area. And I would say that since we've been playing pickleball for 12 years, there's a whole lot more people out there walking in the park every day. They see people playing pickleball, and they see people playing tennis. And by the way, I absolutely applaud Catherine for getting that Reed grant so we can play tennis again. The cracks in the tennis court, it wasn't safe. They should have been roped off because it was a danger to be out there playing. And I applaud the pickleball money being spent to help repair. Those courts ought to be sealed every time a crack comes up. This county, Fayette County and Connersville in the park, don't know how to do preventive maintenance. And I know we're always poor, so the excuse is always there's no money. Lay off people, but take care of the buildings. So here, the Miller Gym is now going to be empty and unused more often than not in the morning if we can't come to an agreement, and at a much higher price to the community health than $3 a person. Park officials says it's their job to protect the buildings. It's their job to use the buildings as they were designed, as Patsy Miller and John Howard wanted the community to use them. Colonel Roberts wanted that park to be used. We have one of the most beautiful parks in the state, in the country. And here we're arguing about whether we can go in and play pickleball. The park board's purpose was to propose and support programs for the benefit of the community. And they've done and administrated lots of programs for kids. And I love to see the sign out there. It says, sign up for this and sign up for that and do this. Outstanding. But yet we can't agree on this silly pickleball. Can't we at least agree to let them go on doing what they've done for 12 years while the legals and everybody else come to it? I think it's just a matter of, well, a lot has been lost. A lot has been lost. And how sad for an unhealthy Connersville that leaders tonight don't insist that our park superintendent, first and foremost, support these programs like pickleball, winter wellness, jazzercise, yoga, whatever they want to do, stretching in the gym. Without, by the way, the deposit and the 48 hours advance notification. Anything that we can do to enhance the health and fitness in this community. Not next week or next year or 6 months from now, but tomorrow when we would like to go play pickleball. I'd like this statement to be in the public record. It's not quite the statement that I intended, but.
Thank you.
I'm assuming. I don't know if there's anybody else. Name and address, please.
Amy Hammonds, 760 South Castile Road, Connersville.
Just a second. 760?
Yes, South Castile Road.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I want to say I'm on the park board, and we have listened to the last few months of this. And I just want to say in all fairness, Catherine, we support her 100%. So that's what I want to stand here in front of all of you and say. Also, the fact is, we felt as a park board that we cannot differentiate rentals per different groups. We have to be fair to all. I understand that they do not want to be organized, but their lack of organization is not our fault, is what I want to say. And what we've done in the past is what's been in the past. We had to go with what we needed to do to support the Miller Building. It is a rental facility. It's not like the park pool. So therefore, we had to come up with something that was going to be equal to all. And I know each one of us on the park board felt like what we had proposed was going to be somewhat of a resolve. It's a matter of $2.50. As far as being organized, every other group that we have as far as organization, we have the Parks Department. You sign up for soccer, you pay your money, whether you come to one game, you get hurt, or you don't come to any more games. Maybe you come to 2 out of the 10 that we have. You're still going to pay the same fee. We can't help it if things happen. We can't help it if there's snowbirds. We can't help it if someone gets sick. We're trying to run a business here. We're trying to make it sustainable. It's a municipal. We can't go in the hole. Chad knows we've sat and talked about other forms. We cannot keep going in the hole on all of these facilities. Yes, Patsy, I knew her for many years. Yes, she gave us this beautiful building to utilize. But we also have to be financially responsible for this building. And we have to look at, in the years going forward, that we're going to be able to keep it for all of the ones that are going to be using it forward. We in no shape or form have anything against pickleball whatsoever. What the past has done has been the past, whether it's good, right, wrong, or indifferent. We had to set something going forward, and now we're the ones that are being, jeopardized because of this. We just want to make it fair to all. It's not fair for the dad who rents the gym for his daughter to shoot hoops and pay one fee. Why can't we do it for him? If we do it for one, we have to do it for all. We're going to have a whole room of people protesting if we do something like this. Everybody's going to want it for $3 or $2 or whatever it ends up being. Everyone's going to want that. It's not fair to everyone. We cannot single them out. We are not like Laurel. We are not like the Goulet. We are not like Richmond. We are what we are. We've established that. We're not trying to be unfair. We want to support everybody. A winter wellness program would be wonderful. We cannot plan this in like a month's period of time. It has to be a well thought out plan so that it encompasses everything we want it to be, not to just satisfy one group of people. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it something for everyone because everyone in Fayette County can use a program for winter wellness going forward. So therefore, I stand with Catherine and the rest of our board in the unanimous decision that we made for this going forward. So I just ask that you really think this through and going forward on your vote if Chad so moves. Thank you.
You got a comment, David?
If we're all done, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, what's your motion on? It's pending orders 3846.
My motion is to change the 25 to 20 for the 2 hours, and then keep the thing at 50 with the inclusion of the 48-hour rental reservation.
I don't think, we cannot include a 48-hour.
We can't do that.
That's not our
All we
jurisdiction,
do
that's
is the
park board.
money.
Okay.
We can
So
only
keep it at
approve
the
fees.
20. That takes it back to $10 an hour.
You do realize that the people that are then renting in the evenings and on the weekends, they get this same fee and that you are paying extra.
Yeah, we
So
don't-
when you talk about
What do you-
wanting to save money, you are now spending money where we don't need to spend. Or this is talking like a literal 250 per hour, Javen.
Yeah, all I'm asking you to vote on are the changes highlighted in yellow. I'm not sure what the 48-hour was.
48 hours was you had to give notice 48 hours. I think they talked
Oh, with
about
the
that.
winter wellness,
With the
I
winter
see.
wellness.
So, but
Yeah.
with either motion, we can still vote on it, and you can say no. So, my motion is the $10 per hour, which is the 20 and 20. That's it.
We have a motion from Javen
I second it.
and a second roll call vote.
Councilwoman Phillips?
Well, this is what's proposed. I think no.
Councilman Robb?
No.
Councilman Gray?
No.
Councilman Collins?
Yes.
Councilman Warner?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barrett?
No.
Councilman Williams Jr.?
Yes.
That is a 4 to 3.
Yes or no?
No.
Anybody else have a recommendation? You can offer to the current ordinance as well. Actually, we need to vote the current ordinance down or up, whichever you want. So I need a motion to approve 3846, which is the current ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Did I hear a second?
Yeah.
And a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Robb?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilman Collins?
No.
Councilman Warner?
No.
Councilman Barrett?
Yes.
Councilman Williams Jr.?
No.
Councilwoman Phillips?
Yes.
That's passing 4 to 3.
So we have pending ordinance 3846 passed on first reading. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying.
Roll call.
Yeah. Oh, roll call vote, please, sorry.
Councilman Robb?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Councilman Collins?
No.
Okay, we will move that to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, item D, approval of resolution 2022-64, the reimbursement to council. Rosemary.
Resolution 2022-64 is a resolution to reimburse $78,900.98 into council other contractual.
Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2022-64?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay.
Is Stone still there?
Yeah, he's still there, I think. You still there, Adam?
Yep, I'm here, Mayor.
Sorry.
I forgot about it.
You're on the agenda, but if you want to move down to old business, you can, or I'm not sure exactly how you want to handle yourself.
However, whatever the council desires, I'm good with that.
Let me go ahead and finish department reports, and we'll come back to you. How's that, sir? I apologize for the delay. Let's start with Superintendent Good, please.
I'm going to keep mine short. As it's getting colder outside, I wanted to let you guys know that it is the time that we will start shutting things down. So you can expect that the restrooms and Clio Fountain will be shut down at least by the early part of November. The construction on Longwood is coming along great. We have had a few, I don't know the right word for it, people that are discontent with us putting windows in the bridge. And long story short, if you do hear that conversation, the people that are working on it actually are in constant contact with the Indiana Historic Bridge Society. and they were out on Saturday at the tour that was held at the park. And those folks are also in favor of us adding those windows to the bridge for things like longevity of the repair and reducing vandalism. They are historically accurate. Even though they are not original to our bridge, they are original to many other Kennedy Brother bridges. So just wanted to give you some talking points on that subject should it come up. We were very thankful to have the support of more than 35 volunteers on the Community Day of Sharing. They completed a lot of painting projects down at Babe Ruth, and they also completed painting the Kiwanis shelter at Roberts Park, which is the gazebo as you come in off the Waterloo entrance. And then we had a very successful Jack-O-Jaunt event. We were able to raise over $1,100 for the trail. And as parents who might be watching, fall break does start on Monday, and we will be open for camp. We are open the 24th through the 28th, and we will be taking registrations all week. So,
What time is the camp?
we're open 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Do they have to be registered before Monday?
They have to be registered before they can drop their child off. Okay. So they can come into the office and do that paperwork beforehand. Thank you.
Thank you. Fire Chief Jones.
Good evening, council. Everybody should have a copy of my September monthly report. We'll begin with the overtime for the month. Total overtime was $13,180.37. It was a 3-pay month, so 2/3 of that would be a little less than $9,000. Put that in perspective, it still seems kind of high, but it is going down. I'm expecting to have a couple guys back here soon, so that should help, with the overtime. Moving down to fuel usage, 401 gallons of fuel usage for the month, for a total of $1,959.72. Any questions on the first page?
Did you have both gas reports for the
I totaled both of them, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, because we went with a different company, so it was half. Yep, I totaled both of them.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Just curious.
All right, moving on to the incidents for the month of September. Had 151 total incidents. As you can see down towards the middle of the page, 117 of those are EMS related. 79% of the total is EMS related. 21% is fire related. And then after that, you'll see a summary through the end of September of our runs for the year. We have 1,499 total runs. And once again, 78% of those are EMS related, 22% fire related. Next, we have our training report for September. You'll be able to see a summary of all the different classes the guys put on throughout the month. A total of 64 instructed hours of training. And then last but not least, you'll see that we got 17 fire code inspections done for the month also. We do have our agility test this Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning for, I believe, 10 applicants that have applied. If anyone would like to come out and see how that process works, I encourage you to show up and watch. It's pretty interesting.
Where is it at?
It's behind the Roberts building in the park. You'll see several fire trucks set up, so it's
You can
kind
participate in it if you
it's
want.
kind of-
Is that on the fairgrounds?
It's hard.
actually on the fairgrounds?
Yeah, it'll be behind the Roberts building, kind of out in front of the amphitheater, but you'll see all the trucks there. It's hard to miss, but it's pretty interesting. I've had
I agree.
Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, yes. We've had applicants participate that took the CPAT test in Indy, and they said they thought ours was more difficult. It's nice to be able to watch them go through the process, when you're going to be selecting, one of those as, a possible firefighter. It's nice to be able to watch them go through the test versus sending them somewhere else to take a test and just bring you a card, showing that they passed. So
It's not easy.
it's a good test, and it's neat to watch. So I encourage anybody that's like to come see it.
I think you said you would have, what, 10 applicants?
Yeah, I think we had 13 total, and we had to disqualify 3 for not including the correct documents that were required, so.
Are you coming Wednesday?
I'm sorry?
Gonna be at Grandview Wednesday? Is Nate doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. I may show up. I'm pretty busy. Usually the guys, I usually let the guys go out and do the fire prevention stuff at school. I did a lot of those when I was on shift. And it's fun. I always enjoy putting on programs in front of the kids. But now we've got some more younger guys that like to do that, so I just pass it down.
Okay.
Any
Thank
questions? All right, thank you.
Mr. Bottom.
Hello. September report, revenue came out pretty good for the month. Disbursements, somewhat high, but it was a 3-month pay period. Overtime, I think it's wrong on your cover sheet, but it's correct on your inside overtime sheet. But we had $4,677 in overtime. 1,100 of that was scheduled, and another 2,000 was overtime at our water plant. Our Woodside water tower radio's out, so they have to come in on the weekends and fill the tower manually with water on Saturdays and Sundays. So that is hopefully be fixed here in the next couple of weeks, so that overtime will be taken out. Utility work is attached. The water plant, sewer plant monthly report is attached. Miscellaneous, we are in our second week of our software conversion with BS&A. Everything seems to be going pretty well. Have a few little problems here and there, but overall I think we're in line. They have a representative, well, 2 or 3 there every day for us for questions to help us out. So hopefully in another few weeks we'll have that down pat. We're also working with Westlers for a water capacity study to determine how much water we can produce and how much water we can put out in certain areas of the city. We rebuilt both bleach pumps at the water plant. This is recommended to do this once a year. We hosted a wastewater seminar September 14th with partnership with Indian Water Alliance. This helps our guys get their continuing education hours, and we have it here locally. Myself and Roger Newcomb attended a AWWA meeting. Roger works at our water plant, and he received his 40-year service pin award. So congratulate to Roger, been around. He's worked by all the departments, so he has great knowledge, and I go to him a lot for some of his guidance and information. So congratulate to Roger. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Coker?
Howdy. I've got a real quick report. Told the Board of Works today I hired a kid named Derek Holly at the street department, so we're getting ready to have we'll be up and running with 3 trash truck drivers before you know it. And the good news is we have the second new truck. It's here. It pulled into town Tuesday, I think, Thursday of last week, and we're awful happy to have it. So things are going to be a lot more stable and dependable with the trash collection. Leaf collection is going to start on October 31st. We'll start with at least 1 truck. We'll just kind of play it by ear and see how much looks like the leaves are about ready to start falling pretty quick. And
There'll be a schedule for that, Brad? Leaf
yeah,
collection, or do you
once
just
we
go
get
around town and?
no, they
stick 'em
usually when we have 2 trucks going, one starts at one end and they work at one at the other, and they work towards the middle. So that's what we'll do once we get up and running full speed. We have a little crack sealing that we need to finish up, so we may start out with 1 machine depending. And the last thing I told the Board of Works, I'll tell you guys, been working quite a bit on getting our Headworks project back on track. We have an IDEM pending dewatering permit. We were going to be dewatering under the construction permit, but we decided that we wanted to get a permit specific to the project because of the chemicals that could possibly be encountered, so to speak. we're working on a plan to put in an interceptor well over at the, somewhere on the north side of Smalley's Pond. And if we do start pulling those chemicals that have been sitting there for all these years, then they'll be intercepted at this well and treated. So you'll be hearing more about that once we have that permit and the plans in place. And in consideration of a long meeting, I think I'll just leave it at that, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Chief Bowles.
Good evening. So a couple of weeks ago, I got the okay to replace one of our patrolmen and our administrative assistants. So today I presented names to the Board of Works that we've hired. The last 2 weeks, we've done several interviews and for the secretary and several interviews, and our testing process was last week for the patrol. For our secretary, we ended up selecting Miss Mary Blakely. She's a resident here in Connersville. And for our patrolman, we end up going with Aaron Wilson from Dunkirk Police Department. He's a graduate back in 2020 of ILEA, so we don't have to send him there. It's just a matter of training him in-house on our procedures and streets and whatnot, and we'll be able to utilize him, so we feel pretty fortunate on that. On my monthly report, overtime is at $12,677. On our gallons of fuel, it's approximately 1,360. It's generally higher than that, but we just transitioned over and finally got all of our guys on board with our new gas system, so that's not accurately presented for the whole month. Any questions on those?
Did they get fuel any place?
What's that?
Did they get fuel any place?
Pretty much, right? I mean,
Yes, they can now.
They couldn't before?
it was pretty limited. It was like Speedway and
Well, they could if they were recommended going to one place, but those pumps weren't always up and running.
Oh, I see.
So they would have to go to alternate stations. But now, the current new cards, they can go anywhere.
everybody have the totals for our incidents report? Any questions on any of those calls? All right, no questions on that. I'd like to add that our K-9 unit has been invited to several areas to do walkthroughs to their schools, namely Wayne County. Right now, they've done some demos in Liberty. They've requested our K-9s to come to these locations, even though they have their own K-9s. They have 24 hours of training in the last month with our 2 K-9s, and also multiple calls of service while they're on duty. Did everybody get a copy of Nick's? All right, did you guys have the totals on there then? Like 304, this is up to date. 304 vehicles tagged for violations, 812 property violations, 2,407 complaints up to this point, and 70 properties that the street departments has had to clean up. That's his totals. Any questions?
Nope. Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Opposed?
For the month of September, we had 9 hours, 3 minutes of meeting production, 24 hours, 21 minutes of original production. That might be a new record. That was a lot of football we produced. And again, congratulations to the Connersville Spartans for winning season, which they completed last Saturday. Also, congratulations to Justin Roberts, the assistant director, who got married Saturday. So I did that. We have the county candidate forum, and that will be coming up this Wednesday through Saturday, continued at 8 p.m., followed by the school board candidate forum at 9 p.m. So we've got those out now, so everybody can watch that and update yourself on the candidates that we have on the ballot. Let's see. Also, the Read Build Big Build Bash is this Saturday at 2 p.m. In Roberts Park. And at 5 p.m. there'll be a live concert in the amphitheater, which I will be running the lights for, probably. So we still have to see if I'm capable of doing that or not. So come out and watch that and see if I can do a good job or not. So, any questions?
We have faith in you, John.
Yes, I'm sure, I'm sure you.
This will be a first for me, so we'll see. Thank you.
Chief Harden.
I'm the last one holding up the wall in the hallway, so relax a little bit. Everyone should have a copy of my monthly report. We had 287 calls for service, down a little bit from what our average is, but so far this year, 2,844. The fuel usage might be a little bit low. I did not get the other, we were in the middle of a card switch. I did not get the other in time to add it into this, but the new card system is live time. I mean, I can watch it in live time and do tallies in live time. So we're done with the old cards, and hopefully this will make things better. Had a total of 12 hours of special event coverage, lots of touch of trucks, a lot of fall festivals that we're doing. Anybody have any questions on anything? I'm just being very brief. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we can bring Adam back in. Move on down to old business. Other Adam.
Hey,
If anybody,
hey, Mayor, can you hear me?
go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I know it's the next item on your agenda, so I'll be brief. Just wanted to reiterate tonight is the final vote on the 2023 budget. Assuming it is passed, it'll be signed and submitted to Gateway within the next 2 days. And then the next major item we would have, we're waiting what's called the final budget order from the Department of Local Government Finance. Once we have those numbers, and we've had a chance to review that with the mayor and clerk treasurer, will provide a final budget update to council after they action. Happy to take any questions that you have. Otherwise, I'll yield the time. Thanks.
Any questions for Adam? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion for the third reading of pending ordinance 3828.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Collins?
No.
Councilman Warner?
No.
Councilman Barrett?
Yes.
Councilman Williams Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Phillips?
Yes.
Councilman Rob?
Yes.
Councilman Gray?
Yes.
Okay, budget passes. We'll move on down to miscellaneous business. Anyone have any miscellaneous business? Thanks, Adam. You can leave. Sorry, sir.
Thank
you, Bill.
Thank you. I'm coming in.
Okay, if there's no miscellaneous business, we'll move down to public forum. Anyone from the public have anything to say? One out there? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Will there be a public forum?
I just asked. Go ahead, you can come up.
Thanks. I did want, oh, Steve, you wanted to first?
I asked, you didn't hear me?
You already have my name, address.
Yes, sir.
Just like to wish John Palsy a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, John.
Public embarrassment, I love it, John. I wasn't gonna embarrass him publicly, so thank you.
He said he's ignoring those now.
He's not the only one.
Same.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to thank you for your time, your attention, and what I feel like was real consideration this evening. We've been at this since March 28th. The first formal written proposal we got was September 26th. It was withdrawn before October 3rd. But tonight, you all had the courage to take a roll call vote, and I appreciate that. All we ever asked was a hearing and for people to put their names, their positions on the line, ask us questions. We know pickleball and its history best. On different meetings, there have been many times when the representative said, I don't know where it came from, I don't know why. If we had only been asked, we could have supplied the whole history, and actually I did in writing on June 27th. But I want to thank you for what I feel like was real dialogue, a real desire to find resolution, and I appreciate that so much. I do know our experience is not unique to pickleball. We've heard many sad tales from CHS people about prohibitive rentals for prom, and Imagine Arts about rental fees for storage of equipment, and Crossroads Band for rental, fees for a pavilion for putting on a free concert and then being charged for, I don't know what all, former park employees, and we're in the public forum now, so maybe the cameras aren't rolling, I don't know, but I just am saddened a little bit. I don't want to feel ill, and I don't think anybody wants to think ill of local government. You guys are public servants. You give a lot of time. We appreciate that. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying thanks to you, because there are a lot of folks that feel they maybe haven't been treated that fairly. They've been misled. They've been jerked around for months and months and months. But that did not happen tonight. And so I thank you. Maybe next year, council or a new park board will decide to honor the original terms of a winter wellness agreement that benefits many people in Connersville. Maybe next year they will figure out a fee system, a daily pass or seasonal pass that can be applied to pickleball and other activities that will greatly simplify any kind of deposit or reimbursement or advanced scheduling, as so many other municipalities have done. We've already identified our own preferred time slot at a period in which the building is rarely used, and we hope that it makes sense in the future that if somebody wants programming on holidays, weekends, after hours, in which additional costs are incurred, that to be fair to everyone, that the cost of the people incurring them will bear the cost of those expenses. And we just don't feel like it applied to us. But hey, we never knew. I was raised, I told my husband, I was raised by a mom and dad who definitely did not give me a yes answer all the time. Many times the answer was no. But they did me the respect of giving me an answer. And that's all I feel like I've ever wanted, was a fair hearing, a fair answer, fair discussion, an up and down vote, the courage of your convictions to go on public record for it. And thank you. Thank you for reading information I passed along, for sharing a good dialogue tonight, and I accept the no. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you for all your input. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anyone else from
I
the
would-
public? We're on public forum here.
I was going to answer her.
I understand. I want to
That's
finish
fine.
public forum
There you go.
first.
Okay.
Got rules.
There you go.
Anyone else for the public? No. Go ahead.
I just want to say that my vote was, I think we need to we appoint a park board, and other than just the finances, I think we need to go with them. That's not to say, like you said, that things can't change in the future. I'm not saying that they can't, but that was my basis for mine, was because we appoint them and we have to respect them and go along with what.
I saw you were struggling.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides, but that was the basis for my vote. We appoint them, and we have to, why have them if we don't, if we're gonna override everything, so, yeah.
Could I ask a quick question? Was there always a park board? Because it just seems to me
There
that
was
it's
a
the
when was
park
it park?
We
superintendent's
had one and then we
recommendations,
didn't.
period.
We had one and then we didn't, and then we had one.
Did that work better when you didn't? Because why have one if
Not
you're just
necessarily.
going with...
We were required to establish a park board to receive some grants.
Oh, I see.
If you don't have a park board, you don't get grants.
I see.
And that was in reestablished this last one in 2016.
Yeah, okay, thanks for the explanation. Good to know, 'cause
Always more information.
Yeah.
I got a lot more.
me too.
Okay, if everyone's done, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Have a good have a good evening. That's.